Any questions regarding special populations? Okay, moving on to test readiness.
I'm sorry, can I ask you, the special accommodations should be uploaded to I-14 first, right? We have to put them in differently, separately?
I don't think I4C is collecting the accommodations or designated support, so that has to be done directly in Tide after your students are loaded into Tide.
This is really brief about test readiness. You can see about your network. So you need a stable, high-speed wireless network. It's better than this one. So the response time for each test depends on your network's bandwidth, the number of students simultaneously testing, the size of the test content, the proxy server, and other factors. So those of you that are using proxy servers, I don't know if that's any of you, you'll want to set your timeout to a higher amount than the amount of time you're actually planning on testing. So if you have an hour session, you're going to make sure that proxy timeout's at least say 70, 75 minutes to be safe. Those servers also should not be caching data coming from servers, and those that are shaping packets should be making sure they are prioritizing the packets that are coming from AIR. And the information about those IPs will be in the tech specs manual. So performance factors, bandwidth, you don't have very much then. Number of students simultaneously testing, when it's more, there could potentially occasionally be bottlenecks. Your wireless networking configuration in the secure browser. So what you're going to need is only 20 kilobits per second per student that's testing. This will be affected both by the local area network and the router. And you should always be analyzing your local area networks to identify potential traffic bottlenecks. It should usually be your tech coordinator at the individual school probably taking these steps. So network performance can slow down when a large number of students are testing at once. You should perform network analyses at different times to ensure you have the adequate capacity. And so you should multiply the number of students you're testing by 20 kilobits per second to make sure you have the amount of bandwidth you need to test. And for that purpose, we have for you, you can find this via the practice test login screen, network diagnostics. What you would do is you would say, you select test, math, grade 3, CAT. You would put in the number of students you want to test. We're going to test 100 people. And you run the network diagnostic test, and it will give you an indication on whether the system thinks you would have enough bandwidth to be able to test.
Where was that again?
You should be able to find the link to this via the practice test login screen. I know that was sort of a brief run over a lot of technical jargon and numbers. We have a question?
You said earlier that we have to be on the secure browser and all the things have to be shut down before kids can get on it. Okay, this scenario played again at the high school. We're having problems trying to get on, so being a bored teenager, I go right to internet and I start. Will it allow me to open up that page, or is it going to give me that burp saying you're supposed to be on a secured browser?
If we had this same situation, because when we were taking the summative test, we're allowed to take the practice test outside the secure browser because the items are not secure. If we were in the real testing situation, it would be the secure browser that would be awaiting to load the test page. So they wouldn't be able to get out of it. And in fact, the first thing it would do would be take out the bar at the bottom.
Okay.
So they wouldn't be able to, with the secure browser open, load anything else.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I know that was a brief, and it had a lot of technical words. Are there any other questions on it? Yes?
With NWEA, we found that when we test in the morning around 8 to 11 o'clock, things go very well. Let's say that everything is good on our end of our district, but what we find is that around 11, 11:30, when the West Coast kind of comes on, we get, we crawl. And so my question is, will that happen with Smart Balance? What are they doing in order to ensure that we can take this in the morning and evening, or afternoon, sorry?
Well, I'm curious, and I'll look at cases to see, did you report it crawling last year or not, or was it just an observation being made?
Not Smart Balance, I'm saying, but a similar.
Oh,
Yeah.
so there are two things. One is, so for a Smart House field test, everyone was on the same system, but New Hampshire is on their own platform, so you're not going to compete with West Coast people. Two, because we had so many students participating in the field test last year, over 4 million, we actually did a lot of load testing before testing started to make sure that we could handle the capacity of both the East Coast and the West Coast students all taking the test at the same time. And I think during the field test, our peak concurrent users was 185,000 students taking the test all at once with no issues. So this should not be an issue with the Smart Balance test from New Hampshire. We are also doing the same load testing this year just to make sure everything's okay. We will not tell you should take it in the morning. You can take it all day throughout the day.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the last section of our presentation, which is about the various training modules.
To finish the test readiness section, we'll re-highlight some of the things we've already mentioned about training materials. So again, we have Smarter Balance modules on the portal. There will be 11 in total. 8 are already posted, and the remaining 3 will be posted within the next few weeks. We will have manuals as well as brochures. So the test administrator manual as well as the test coordinator manual are going to be the policy and procedure guidelines for administering the Smarter Balance assessment.
Those aren't there yet.
No, those are not there yet.
They're all being reviewed right now by the client, so once we incorporate all the changes, then we'll post it to the portal.
Is that the same for all is that the same for the technology coordinator or all of those?
Yes. All of the, so any outstanding materials will be by mid-February.
Okay.
So when you can see the brochures, they're just going to be 1 to 2 page, very short versions of the manuals or the user guides. We will also, later this month, or in early March, be hosting webinars to go over a few of the systems in more depth. And the portal will be updated with an announcement as well as the key dates section once we have those dates and times and the information nailed down. Again, one of the things we stressed during preparing for the test is taking the practice and training test. That'll help work out any technical issues. It'll help the students, especially if they took the field test and they were used to how that looked and they might be expecting that again this year. They can see the new interface and become accustomed with it. And it will help you, for any students that need settings and accommodations, make sure all of that is working.
Can proctors help with the moving items around, moving things around during the online test?
No. So
No manipulation help at all?
no, we don't want the test administrators or proctors helping the students manipulate any of the items, because each item will have an item tutorial to help explain to the student what they need to do with that item if they're confused. But we don't want, because if you help move, for example, that first question was a graph. If you help them move it, it could be helping them answer it because of where you place it.
And these are secure materials and secure items. So, you know, what we want is to make sure that these items continue to remain secure. So we don't want test administrators being able to look at every single item in great detail. We do know that they're going to be proctoring, they're going to see how students are doing, but unless they have a scribe as an accommodation who can actually put the information in for them, they cannot help with how a student responds to the item.
Can you remind them to use that help tool?
Oh, I don't remember what you called it.
Oh, the item tutorial?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can actually absolutely tell each student if you're having problems, please look at the item tutorial. It should help you answer the question.
And those tutorials are already posted to the portal, so they can look at them beforehand if you want to remind them a few times.
Can we print out the key commands for students that is on the front start page?
You absolutely can, and that's a good question. We can also post a PDF of it on the portal, so it's easy for you to not have to go into the test to print it out. We'll put one on the portal for you.
Did I see another hand? No. Then again, there's the key dates, which will be found on the portal, and right now we have the practice and training test release dates, as well as the interim assessment and the summative assessment testing windows.